oftentimes I have to remember that not everybody that I communicate with or that I engage or talk to, interact with throughout the day or online, or in various settings have an athletic background. A lot of times I will refer to my athletic background as it relates to taking steps forward in different things. Pulling the trigger, really important, to pull the trigger. But in every situation in life, there is some form of preparation. So when I mentioned the whole athletic piece, as an athlete we train, we have practice, we do conditioning, we work on our diets, we do all these various things, right? Watch film, strategize, the game plan, so that when we go into the game, we can beat our opponent. The goal is victory. The goal is the win. Now, life is the same way. If you're an entrepreneur, there are things that need to happen before you step into entrepreneurship that would indicate or that would tell you that you're prepared. It doesn't matter. Say you're in a relationship. If you're in a relationship and you get to a point where you love a person, okay? Maybe you're infatuated with the person, maybe you're dating, whatever. Every step in that relationship, there has been some antecedent to that place, right? Every step in the relationship, there's something that occurred to get you to that next point. Now, in business, it's the same way. Whether it's you getting up in the morning, mentally preparing yourself, working out, studying, going over the plan for the day, checking emails, whatever, you're basically preparing for everything that you're going to encounter, everything that you're going to do in that day. Some of the best people in the world, they have sort of like routines or rituals that they do every day. One of the things that I would tell you to do if you are venturing into business, or even if you're working a job and you want to be promoted, or you want to change some aspect of your life, you've got to set yourself up to prepare yourself for that change, right? So you've got to get yourself in that state where when preparation meets opportunity, you're able to capitalize and take off. Because if you're not, why even do it? I know a lot of people who I talk to who they've got great ideas. I'll sit down with them. They'll tell me their idea. They're passionate. They're on fire for their idea. At the same time, when I start to go down this list of things, and it's not that I have a list in front of me, it's just from experience, and I start to talk to them about, okay, what about this? What about that? Okay, well, what about this? They don't have an answer for those things, or it's stuff that they haven't thought about. However, the reality is it's like very, very basic stuff, okay? Very basic, very grassroots things that you should know, or at some point, if you're preparing yourself, you will have run into it or come across it, so it's something that's been put on your plate. If that's something where it's a challenge for you, then what I would say is begin to consider those things that need to occur before you move in any direction, all right? Doesn't mean don't move, because you got to take action. You got to take action. And I want you to know, by you considering those things, and not just considering them, I mean actually acting upon stuff. So if you find that there are things that you haven't done, or there are things that you need to do, but then you put them off, well, when you get to that door and you're ready to knock on that door, and there on the other side, the opportunity is saying, come right on in. And you go to reach for the handle, but you're like, man, this is a new kind of handle. I never seen this handle before. How do I do this? Is this a ring? What is this? Is something special? Do I punch a code? Well, had you done the preparation ahead of time, you would know how to open up that door. Move the latch, punch in the code, whatever it takes. everything ahead of time will get you to there. So whether it's you developing as an entrepreneur, whether it's you developing as a leader, whether it's you developing in the industry that you're in and becoming knowledgeable. Now, I've been taking on so many different, I've been looking at so many different industries. And as an entrepreneur and as a person who, like, I have a goal. I have a goal for myself. And so I have these certain industries where, okay, I want to go into. Now, I'm focused on a couple. I'm not focused on them all because the plan is drawn out. It's not where I'm going to try to take on everything, spread myself thin. No. However, I spent a lot of time working on one, and now I'm spending some time on the other, so that way I can balance the time between the two to get momentum. Now, I've created my creative team on this side. I've created a team of very high-level individuals, people who have who are driven, who have an entrepreneurial spirit, who are very, very highly efficient, and they're high performers. They're driven by success. They're people who you can rely on, who are working with me here because I can't do it alone. So for all you people who you want to do it alone, go for it. You do it and you take it on, and hopefully when you get to a point that you realize, damn, I should have started with a team, you'll make the decision. But remember, you can't get that time back. That's what's important, okay? You can't, money you can get back, time you can't. You can't get that time back. So I would tell you, once you realize, hey, I'm going to need a team, then get a team. I'll tell you from experience, you can trust me or you don't. At the onset, if you can start with a team, if you can identify who those key individuals are that you can leverage to align with you to get you to your goal, to help you get to the goal. At the same time, though, you're also depositing into them what they need or helping them to get to their goal. That's how you're going to get there faster and you're going to win. What I will tell you, though, from experience also, when you try to do it by yourself, it is a task out of this world. It's very difficult to be operations, HR, sales, you're leading to play all of the various roles. Holy cow, I'm telling you now, I've tried it, I've done it, I did it for years, and had I made the decision to go with a team much earlier, I'll even step back and hold myself accountable. Had I took the advice of somebody I considered a mentor earlier, the first thing he said to me was, okay, who's your partner in this? Who you doing it with? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean take on a partner where you're splitting your business in half or you got some type of agreement that way. If you want to do it that way, you can. Or you can actually offer them shares of the company. However you want to set it up, you can set it up. Okay. But what I will tell you is having someone there is much more to your advantage. Having the right person there, though, because just to have anybody there, that could actually come back to bite you. You want somebody there who you can trust, you can rely on, who's focused on the goal, who's driven, they may not be they may not be identical to you in terms of everything that they think or their thoughts. And the reality is you may not want somebody to be that way because then you don't have a devil's advocate. You don't have someone who could offer you a variety of ideas or to help you think outside the box, especially when you get so much tunnel vision. You want somebody else there. But these are things that ahead of time you've got to, when you're doing the preparation, when you're readying yourself to take this next step, when you're readying yourself to go to the next level, these are things that you do. An athlete, an entrepreneur. An athlete and an entrepreneur, they're very much alike. I know it. Most people don't have the same background as I do, or many people do, as having an athletic background. At the same time, though, I want you to think about those individuals who've gone on to the Olympics, those individuals who play professional sports. Even your kids, if you have kids, your kids who are out there playing sports. Think of all the times you take them to practice. Think of all the times coaches like, oh, we got special training. Think of all the times you're traveling to go to all of these different games. All of this is to get to, at the end of the season, you get in the playoffs and you win this championship. It's to get this trophy or this medal or whatever the case may be, all to do it again the next year. Now, hopefully, what we've done with our kids who are in these organizations is prepare them to either go to college or have some other opportunity. In that, though, there's so much in terms of their development that's happening along the way. All of the socialization, domestication, the network that they're building, the people that are now in their circle, them working extremely hard to get to a certain place. If you were to step back and you look at them, look at it on a higher level. Everything that you're putting into their career at this point as an athlete and all of the stuff that they're putting in for them to be successful, that is a collective, right? It's a collective thing because there's a team. There's a mom, there's dad. Hopefully there's a mom, there's dad, and everybody else is involved. Grandma, grandpa, uncles, aunts, friends, neighbors, whoever. But everybody's involved, and there's 1, 2, 3, however many kids to get these kids to this level. That's no different here, whether you are an entrepreneur or whether you are working to get a promotion or you're starting over, you're taking on a new career path, you're jumping back into the workforce, jumping out of the workforce. It doesn't matter, right? You've got to take the same approach. If you can invest all of that into a kid, or if you were an athlete before, and you invested so much time into you, either working to earn a scholarship, or you were playing in high school, or for a recreation, or for a club, and you were working to achieve a certain goal, there was a lot of work that went into that. Now, why, in so many cases, do entrepreneurs not do that same thing for themselves to prepare themselves to be entrepreneurs? I sit down with a lot of entrepreneurs and I will ask them very basic questions, okay? And I've sat down with so many entrepreneurs. We sit down and we'll go over it. What about this? No, I don't have that. What about this? No, I don't have that. Did you think about this? No, I didn't think about that. But I got some t-shirts. Okay, so let me get this straight. What do you plan to do with those t-shirts first? Oh, we're going to hand them out. So you're going to hand out the t-shirts. Wait, so you telling me that you went and spent so many hundreds of dollars on t-shirts to promote your brand that technically doesn't even exist yet. Huh. So how do you plan to make money doing that? Because I get it. I get the whole creating the following thing. I get that. You want to get your name out there. There are so many ways to get your name out there where you're not putting yourself in a hole before you even get started. There's so many different ways. Now, I am totally not against that idea. If that idea works for you, definitely do that. But there are so many ways that we can go about this. Now, in terms of building your brand, the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to take your idea, take your brand, and give it away when you turn up down the road and you can't even do anything with it because you sort of thinned it out to where there's nothing there. You don't have any substance behind the brand because rather than put substance behind the brand where you've created value behind the brand because you've done the homework, you've done the pre-work to build your brand, to establish your brand so that when you go out there, when you hand someone a t-shirt, you're not just handing them your excitement and your passion, you're handing them something that is real, something that is tangible, something that they can say, hey, I'm with this company, I support this company, I buy from this company, I'm following this company, I support this company. Period. That's how it is. A mentor told me one time, this is when I was still in corporate America, he was and I was in leadership, and he said, Ty, you're not a leader until you can walk away and go pick up your kids, and you don't have to tell anybody where you're going. And you go walk away and pick up your kids, and you decide, well, I'm not coming back. I'm going to go home. And you don't have to call anybody to tell anybody that. He said, that's when you're a leader. Now, some people might say, okay, maybe, okay. Because even when he told me, I was like, what? That didn't make sense. But it did make sense. Right? It took me a while to get there because when I finally stepped into entrepreneurship, he said, welcome to the club of people who will never have to work again. As a new entrepreneur, I sat back and I was kind of like, what does that mean? you're an entrepreneur. Of course you're going to work. But what he meant was, I am now in control of my destiny. That leadership thing he talked about of, I'm going to take off and I don't have to tell anybody if I'm coming back or not. That's what he was talking about. Because as the entrepreneur, I now set the tone for how things are going to work in my particular environment. I am also going to set the tone for or determine whether or not my business is going to be successful or if my business is going to tank. So 10 years after he told me that, I'm driving down the street, and as I'm driving down the street after picking up my kids, I look over at this building, and that's my building right there. And I'm on my way home. I realized I understood what he was talking about. But here's the thing. I put a lot into the pre-work, the development of myself to prepare myself to be in that. Now, if I were to look back, were there other things that I should have done? Yeah. Were there other things that I should have learned? Absolutely. Were some of the things that I didn't learn ahead of time, did they hurt me? Yeah. If I could do it all over, would I change anything? I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure, because this process of entrepreneurship, it is exactly that. It's a process. And although it's painstaking, it's hurtful, it's lonely, it can be very, very stressful. It can beat you up. If you think that it's like, hey, you're just rolling, I got to tell you, no. I know entrepreneurs who they're still down here trying to figure out how to get to step 2, and I'll talk to them, but at the same time, it's about you. You've got to be prepared to step out on that edge. You've got to take that leap of faith. You've got to put some skin in the game and not be afraid to take that risk. And for a lot of people, they think more about the risks versus the reward. So what, you fall on your face. If you fall on your face, get up, clean off, push. Keep pushing, right? I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you have to reposition your feet when you're pushing. Sometimes you got to put a foot back, stagger your feet so that you can push. Because if your feet were behind your shoulders, if your feet were under your shoulders, you weren't in position to push right anyway. Sometimes you got to put that foot back so that you can push forward. You have to. And you can't be afraid to do that. That's just a part of this thing. Now, in your own right, you're an athlete. If you're doing the things that you have to do in order for you to achieve that win. A business athlete, right? You're an athlete in business. You're working real hard every day. You've established a routine. You've put together a schedule. You have your calendar. You're constantly working on these things. Work. If, for you, your thoughts of entrepreneurship and business is, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going to this, that, or the other. No, I don't think so. You got to grind it out. You're going to have some sleepless nights. Listen, I can tell you about days where I remember one time going 3 days without sleep, pushing to get the doors open, the painting, the building, driving out to San Diego, driving out to Arizona, buying equipment, doing all kinds of stuff. I went into this particular business, my last one, I went in with 100% ownership of everything. So that meant me traveling. I was traveling to close deals, negotiating, and I was negotiating hard to close deals, to get the stuff that I needed. Okay? I was negotiating hard. And when it came down to, for me to go through my lease, when I was leasing the building to open up the facility, the people said they had never, ever had any one of their tenants ever tear apart a lease agreement the way I did. I broke that lease agreement down. Let me tell you, I did my homework. I went out to Rancho Cucamonga in California. I went out to Rancho Cucamonga. I sat with a business lawyer out there. I sat down with him. It cost a gang of money just for an hour of his time. But I sat down with him, and I walked away feeling like I wasted my money because he didn't do anything for me. But the reality was, he didn't do anything for me physically. However, I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you just need to be in some people's presence, and you need to hear things from them. You need to hear them put certain things in context for you. So he went through my lease like that. Okay? He went through my lease like that. And he was like, pretty standard lease. What do you want me to do? I was pissed. I'm like, I want you to go through this lease and tell me what's not okay, what needs to be taken out, everything. Okay? No, he didn't do any of that stuff. He was like, man, I think you got it. He's like, I don't know. I mean, unless you're a dumb shit, I don't see what, I'm like, what? Now I'm ready to jump over the table. But, I got to be professional. So I'm like, okay, all right, man, whatever, right? I leave out. Now, there were other things that were said in there in that meeting. But it was those other things that were said that when I walked out of that meeting, it made me go through that lease with a fine-tooth comb. And it made me get up on Google, and it made me go ahead and get my, I have all these different law books and encyclopedia books and all of these financial books and stuff like that to learn terms, to understand what they meant, so I was not backing myself into a corner. The other thing I did was I met with some commercial real estate, agents, and who were very good at breaking down leases and taking things out, changing the wording, stuff like that. And I asked one of them if they would do something. This one I knew, right? And she was just kind of like, well, I don't understand what you want me to do. And I told her, I want you to do the same thing for me that you do for your own clients and that you do for your own buildings when you negotiate buildings for your businesses. And I was like, she was like, okay. So like 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. I'm like, what the heck? I get it back, and she's just like, it's a pretty standard lease or whatever. She's like, I kind of highlighted a few things. She's like, but Ty, you can do this yourself. You're smart. You can do this. She's like, you don't need me to do this. She's like, she's like, I highlighted a couple things. She's like, well, I don't think what I highlighted is going to help you. She's like, you need to go through it. So I was like, okay. I got to it. When I tell you I broke this lease down, I learned every phrase, everything that was in there. I wanted to know who had leverage in the event this happened. Who was responsible for this? Who was responsible for that? When I finally went in and walked that building, I had broken that lease down. I walked that building with a fine-tooth comb, and then I went back to that lease. And I made other changes to the lease. And there were things that I scratched out, things that I highlighted. I changed the verbiage in there because I didn't like the verbiage in the lease. There were a lot of stuff. It's because I did my pre-work. I prepared myself the same way athletically, working out, conditioning my body, doing everything that I had to do. I did the same thing. So when they got that lease and they looked at it, she came back to meet me and she was just like, we've been doing this for years. She's like, she's like, that's what you're supposed to do. She said, but all these businesses, none of these businesses have ever done this. She said, none of our tenants in any of our businesses, and they've got hundreds. She's like, none of them have ever done it, which blew me away, right? Blew my mind away. So here's what I'll tell you. One, if you need help, hit me up. I'll help you. Two, do your pre-work. Do your homework, right? Just like if you were an athlete and you're conditioning and you're working out, do the same thing. If you want to go for a promotion, my mentor, I was about to mention it earlier, my mentor, he told me when I was in corporate America, he said, you're up for a promotion. If you're up for a promotion, why would they promote you? What is it about your portfolio that's better than them? And when he's talking about my portfolio, he's talking about me, my personal brand. What is it about me that's better? Why would they choose me over choosing this other person? If they open up my performance review, this performance review, they look at everything that I bring to the table, everything that this person brings to the table, right? They look at, however they score you. What's different about you? What's different about you? What do you have that's going to make someone open up their portfolio or open up your portfolio or look at your business and say, shit, man, we want to partner with, screw this guy. We want to partner with this one right here. This guy's got it going on right here, right? Hey, he was cool. She's got it going on. Her portfolio is out of this world. we're going to take this person right here. What is it about you and your portfolio? What is it about you that's going to make you be successful? Are you going to continue to go about things the same way, or are you going to do your homework, right? Are you going to do the pre-work? All right, I say keep going back and forth and saying pre-work and homework, because sometimes you're going to be at home. Last night, listen, I was up late last night till probably 1 o'clock, 1:30, just studying business. I'm in a transitional period even with me for business. I have all these different goals. I have things that I want to accomplish, right? And 3 years from now, I have, 3 years from now, okay? I have a goal that I told one of my clients. She's her husband's pretty well off, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I want to be here, and she goes, Ty, that's a pretty lofty goal, which let me know all this time she really doesn't know me. And I love it when people tell me that, because now you just give me a reason to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong anyway, but you've just given me a reason to prove you wrong. So now she just got added to my why. Yeah, my kids are my why. I get it. I get all that. But you know what? I love it when somebody tells me that I can't do something. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, right? He's in law enforcement. He's up there. I just got off the phone with him. And I was telling him the same thing. Conventional wisdom is not always the best. Sometimes you've got to take a different approach to things. And I like to take a different approach. I don't care if people don't agree with it. If it's going to make me successful, then I'm going to do it. If it's going to make you successful, you better do it. If it means you got to sit down and you got to take some time out and you got to study, you got to avoid the homies, you got to avoid the girls, you got to not go out to the club, you got to not go out to the party, you got to not go out to the family function, you got to not go out and to Uncle John's birthday or whatever the case may be, because you got to get home. Listen, I'd rather be in a position where I can uplift Uncle John and everybody else than be in a position where I'm sitting down with them and then they're not comfortable. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. I had a cousin a long time ago. She asked me, she was asking me questions about, why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that. And I was like, look, this is who our family has been for a long time. I'm not trying to be here. I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for my grandkids. I want them to be here. I want them to be here. So you can either jump on the coattail and let's roll, or you can stay where you want, stay where you are. And that's the bottom line. There's no love lost. I can love you from a distance. It is what it is. I'm not in disagreement with you in terms of what you want to do with your life. It's your life. It's your life to live. That's the same thing with you. It's your life to live. But you got to make a decision on where you want to be. You got to make a decision on where you want to be. You look in the mirror. I tell athletes, look in the mirror. All right? It's this thing that we do. You take a mirror and you don't put your whole face in the mirror. You position your body to where only half of your face is in the mirror. And you just spend some time locking with eye to eye, right? It's very difficult with two eyes to look at two eyes. But you just sit there, and you can sit, you can stand however you want, but you want to be in a peaceful place where it's just you. I always tell people to do it where it's just you. I want you to just sit there, and I want you to focus, and I want you to think about you. Think about the things that you've done in life. Think about where you are in life right now, all right? Think about where you were in life the last 6 months. Then 12 months before that, all right, and a year before that. Think about what you've done. What's improved? Are you in the same rat race? Are you in the same circle? Are you on that little wheel just running, crying, hoping that you want to get out? Look yourself in the mirror. Am I the man or am I the woman that I feel that I should be right now? Am I doing those things? Am I fully committed to giving myself 100%? Because you can't give other people 100% if you don't give yourself 100%. That's the bottom line. There's no way possible you can give 100% to somebody else when you only got 20% of yourself that's in the game. Bottom line. Period. People make excuses. Trust me, I know. Man, if you go online, look up, matter of fact, I'll put the link with this, and you will see how my football career ended, right? I went through hell. After that. A lot of people don't know what happened. But when you dig into it, and then when you see what happened, sure, like realistically, there were a lot of people that I could blame. And for a long time, I did. At the same time, though, it's kind of how in life, because I work with these foster kids. And what happens is you can go through so much in life, So much hell, you can go through so much resentment and bitterness and so much anger in life. But there's going to come a point where everything that you're going through, you own it. You own it. See, as a kid, and you're blaming, and you're pointing the finger, and you're this, that, the other, because you're not learning how to process anger, or you're not learning how to deal with disappointment or rejection. You don't know how to be accountable. You don't know how to be responsible for your actions or how to improve your situation because you haven't had that exposure, that upbringing, that development, that support, people who are actually legitimately caring for you or caring for your future. You don't have what it takes for you to get there. Now that does happen. But then what happens when you get to a come of age where now you can go out and get that for yourself? There are a lot of adults who are in a position where they're not going out and getting it for themselves. They're still blaming someone else. Right? They look great on social media. They got all the fancy gear on. They're doing all the fancy things. Everything is awesome. Right? Isn't that how the song goes? Everything is awesome. Everything is amazing. But the reality is, if you and I were to sit down, go through your life, look at what's really going on, the truth would come out. But you wouldn't want me to tell anybody that. Who would? Because see, that would change people's view of you. Or that would change people's view of the you on social media. Don't get it twisted. I understand the whole concept of fake it till you make it. Because sometimes you do have to dress the part. Sometimes you do have to get in the habit of constantly waking up early and going through those routines of successful people you emulate, right? Sometimes, yeah, you do have to do that stuff. You do have to set something. And you can do it for yourself, establish your own without necessarily emulating somebody else. But you do those things, okay? And that is to put you in the mindset of where you want to be. You're working to mentally change your mindset, your focus, how you see things, how you do things. A big piece of that is accountability, is being accountable for the you that you are right now. And saying that I am this, but I don't want to be this anymore. So instead, I'm going to do this stuff right here. And I'm going to work on this every day. And I'm going to listen to this every day. And I'm going to read this every day. Whatever those things are to get me here. But the thing is you're going to take action. So tonight, I'm going to do my homework. And I'm going to get up early. I'm going to do my pre-work. And then at night, I'm going to do my homework. But in between there, I'm going to take action. I'm going to constantly take action, take action, take action, take action. Bottom line, I'm tired. Hey, I'm glad you was here with me. We'll talk again later.